Gentlemen, welcome to our first amazing videocast, podcast. Who knows what direction and movement we're going to have with this cause that the amazing Rob Lason, the brains behind all of this, has in for us. So welcome. We have some amazing individuals, but first I want to get to Rob, and just Rob, I want you to just say why are we here? Why did you think this was a good cause and you wanted to do this? Tell us.
Well, right now we have a lot of veterans committing suicide. And so really, we just really need to get down and figure out why. And if there's anything that we can do to kind of collaborate together and try to break the stigma, everybody knows 22, but, nobody really knows the names of the veterans who are committing suicide or their story. And so I'd like to hear more stories about people who are committing suicide and kind of put a picture with a face and a name. And so maybe that'll help us figure out why people are committing suicide, because a lot of people, there's just no answer. After somebody commits suicide, you don't really have a story about it. And so, yeah, hopefully that's why I reached out to John. John, you just walked from where to where? For suicide awareness?
2,500 miles.
Georgia to Santa Monica, California, from Jackson, Mississippi, back to Tybee Island, Georgia, Killeen, Texas, and we got many walks planned and a future walk across Europe.
Wow. So John, do me a favor, brother. Introduce yourself and your cause a little bit so everybody knows a little bit about you.
Absolutely. My name is John Rain. I founded Buddy Watch Walk. It is not an entity. Many people get that confused and they're like, well, you're a 501c3, you're this, you're that. No, we are just service members. We are veterans, and we're frustrated. We're tired. We're tired of seeing our brothers and sisters suffering, which is why I started this in the first place. Just dealing with veterans in the vet court system, seeing a big gap, a big problem among our veterans serving, coming home, having issues, whether it's PTSD, TBIs, addictions. Veterans are getting out of the military already having addictions, and so just seeing that and having friends. I don't deal with the issues that we walk for. I don't personally. My son does. My friends do, and that's why I did it. I did it because I knew enough about the military to join late at the age of 35. So I already had the human sense. I already had the life knowledge, and then I put the pieces together. And I knew just enough of what needed to change. And so being involved and getting to know these veterans that, have been on 5 deployments, 6 deployments, and seeing the problems and the things that, they need fixed. People need to be able to speak up and advocate. So I started a walk on October 1st, 2019, Tybee Island, Georgia. I was doing it blind. I mean, I had a support network in Savannah, Georgia, Richmond Hill, in that area. Some people walked with me for a little bit, but I was basically doing it by myself. I was last minute. We got planned for it for 3 weeks, and I just started walking. I started roaming from location to location, stopping and talking with veterans, going to American Legions, going to VFWs. And it just became something I never imagined. There was no plan. There was no plan. I stumbled into Montgomery, Alabama. I went to the state office for the American Legion, And basically the only reason I tell him this, the only reason I went in there is because it was cold. Right. So it was the first day of walking. And I wanted a cup of coffee. I was looking, I knew they had coffee, And so I walked in and I got vetted pretty good. They asked me, they were like, hey, what are you doing? I told them, and they just brought me in. They were like, look, days of you not having any support are over. And I had amazing support all the way across the country from National American Legion, VFW Post, veteran organizations. And the best part about it was social media. Right? So social media is a very important tool when it comes to almost anything. And so retired Master Sergeant Jimmy Matthews, United States Army, dealing with the issues that we walk for, he actually he reached out to me because he found me on social media, and he said, hey, man, I want to come out and walk with you a day, or I wanted to walk across state of Mississippi. You gave me a great idea. I want to do this. I said, well, I haven't gotten to Mississippi yet. Jimmy, why don't you come walk with me? And he did. He came out and walked, and then it took him one day, and he was like, I'm going to walk the entire leg across the country. And Richard hit on this earlier because he realized I got an income, right? I got an income. I'm retired. I can do this. I don't need to get a job. So he did. He came out and walked with me, and it was awesome to have Jimmy with me because he was dealing with these issues. It was kind of just strengthening the walk, and we had multiple veterans on that leg come out and have a voice on that walk, and became me starting a stone that created a ripple, and we picked up steam all the way across the country, walked into a pandemic. Who would have knew that I planned a walk, during a global pandemic? That curveball.
Really?
We finished that walk in June of 2020, and me and Jimmy often joked about it. We were like, well, Jimmy, you didn't really do the entire walk across the country because you joined me late. We picked up where Jimmy and I met, and we walked back east to complete the entire walk together. So,
what?
Yep. So we did that as brothers. He's family, and now we support other people that do this. There's 3 guys right now I know that are walking for veterans issues. One in Florida, one on the Appalachian Trail, another one that's going to be picking up here in Texas. But I know there's more than that. I just can't keep up. But there's lots of people out there doing this. We have walks planned. April 2nd, there'll be one in Pennsylvania. I won't be there for that, but that's another person that came out and walked for us, 22-year Air Force veteran. She's got to walk up there. I commend her because she just donated a big portion of her kidney to her mom. So she's doing this like a month out of surgery. So
wow.
Bernadette, awesome. We got to walk on May 15th in Idaho. July 4th will be Mount Rushmore. In August 29th will be in Tupelo, Mississippi. October 29th, Washington, D.C. And then next year, with the support, hopefully, because COVID and all, Department of France is going to support us from Normandy to Berlin.
Wow!
So that's what we do. We, it's become
you're
much
busy,
larger.
John. You're busy, John.
Man, his feet must look like he's still active duty.
Let me know when you grab the rucksack. I'm gonna grab my rucksack and we'll start. I'll go for a march or walk with you next time.
Airborne.
You said the whole thing, or you just said you coming for the whole thing?
You gonna do the whole walk? All right.
Huh? I got my rucksack ready. I'm ready to go. Let's meet me outside in 5. Come on. I'm marching to you, Dave. Where you at? And then
I'm in Greece, man. You gonna have a long
John, and then we'll walk over to Ojeda's house and meet him for some morning coffee.
I don't know if you think you're Jesus and you can walk on some damn water, but you go on and try it, brother. You guys have fun. Get to me. We'll have some ouzo on the beach, hang out, and enjoy each other's company. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so John, I'm going to come back to you in a sec, and the question I'm going to have for you is what's your why for all of this? What's your why? So think about that a little bit. I want to switch over to Mr. Ojeda. Brother, you are doing some big things, and I want everyone here to know about it. So share a little bit about what you've done and what you continue to do, because you don't seem like you stop.
Well, you know, when I retired from the military, I got into politics. And like I said, I never really wanted to get into politics because I never really met a politician that I liked and trusted. But I decided that after looking around and seeing some of these raggedy, crooked politicians, that I was going to start challenging them and calling them out. And of course, it almost resulted in me losing my life to a pipe to the back of the head and 8 broken bones in my face with brass knuckles. But I won my state Senate seat. The first bill that I fought and pushed, it was my bill, SB 386, which was basically going to make West Virginia the 29th state to become legal for medical cannabis. And a big reason for that push was because when a guy come into my office on the second day of me being a senator, and he said, would you like to have a conversation about cannabis? To be honest with you, man, you know, I'd been in the military, and anybody that ever pissed hot, we pretty much, you know, kicked him to the curb. So I was like, but yeah, have a seat. Let's have a conversation. And during that conversation, he made the comment PTSD. And it like, pow, it was like a lightning bolt went off. And I'm thinking to myself, 22 veterans are committing suicide every single day. And one of the reasons why my bill passed, and I really believe in this, is because right before we voted on my bill, I held up 13 dog tags. And I said that medical cannabis cannot bring these people back, but medical cannabis can help the people that see their faces every time they close their eyes to go to sleep at night. And I had even people on the opposite aisle stand up and give supporting speeches, and it passed. And then, you know, from that moment on, I ran for Congress because we had garbage congressmen and things like that. Now I'm currently the national spokesman for No Dim Left Behind. And no matter what I do, you know, trying to find solid leaders to take on some of these corrupt politicians across the country, you know, veteran issues are always going to be, you know, on the front, and they're always going to be something that's going to be, you know, spoken of concerning myself, because, you know, at the end of the day, every one of us, you know, we may be retired, but we're still connected to the military, and we're connected to everybody who serves. And no matter what, I don't care who you are, I don't care where you are. If you are in the military, you are my brother, you are my sister. And it is our responsibility to do whatever we can to try to stop the suicide rate. It is our responsibility to make sure that we make ourselves accessible for anybody out there that is in need and needs a shoulder to cry on, or an ear to listen. I mean, we're sitting here and we got a person that come on here literally that said, you know, David said that during his active duty, well, he's still active duty today, but, you know, during a combat deployment, he almost committed suicide. You know, there's a lot of things that go on in soldiers' minds, even in combat. You know, when I mean, I had a really rough time when I got my TBI. Nobody knew what TBI was. And, you know, I had a really bad month in May of 2005. And I just remember I didn't know what TBI was. Nobody did. Nobody even talked about TBI until 2007. And this was 2005. But I can remember after a couple of explosions, I found myself one night walking in the darkness with no weapon, just walking in Iraq. I woke up walking in Iraq. And I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. And I was scared because I was a company commander, and I was scared that if I told anybody about anything that I was going through, you know, they would think that something's wrong with Captain Ojeda. Maybe we need to pull him off the line. And you and I know, you know, you can't do that, man. I mean, that's losing your command or being relieved from command is just something, you know, but I did break down and sit down with my first sergeant, tell my first sergeant, and he took me to they called it combat stress. And it was just a couple guys that basically just let people, you know, tell them what was going on. And after I told him, I said, I don't know what's going on. Something's wrong with me. I've lost my appetite, you know, and then we talked about the explosions and stuff. and he put me on some really, really heavy sleeping meds. And my first sergeant basically pulled me off the line for about 4 or 5 days. And I'm telling you, I literally just slept like you wouldn't believe. But it did help me to be able to get back, regather myself and then get back, on the line and push all the way through the end of the deployment. But up until 2007, nobody even knew what TBI was. And there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of soldiers that have sustained serious traumatic brain injuries that nobody even recognizes, because before 2007, if you didn't have a bullet wound or shrapnel, they looked at you like, well, there's nothing wrong with you. Get back out there on the line. So, veterans issues, we've all got experiences and things like that, but I commend David, man. I really do, for coming on here and saying that, because a lot of people wouldn't, and you have, and I'm glad that you're a successful, soldier in the military, sergeant first class, and you're continuing to serve, man. So I support you, Dave. And I appreciate you having the courage to come on here.
Absolutely. So look, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna circle back to you with the same question. What's your why? Okay, so I want you to think about that a little bit, Richard, as we transition back over to John. So when I say what's your why, what made you decide that this is what you needed to be doing with your time, energy, and effort, right? Something intrinsically made you say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate my life to serve others in this way. And that's what I want to talk about. And I want you to be able to connect with everyone out there that's listening, that may be saying, I don't have a damn why. I don't have a reason to even be here right now. So why am I listening to these guys? I can't get out of the bottom, right? So I'm asking you what's your why, because it's going to give someone else hope to think, wow, I could do something with this life of mine a little more than I already have. I can be a little better. I can become someone that maybe is an advocate for something. It doesn't just have to be suicide awareness. It can be anything that you're intrinsically motivated to do. So, John, what's your why, brother?
Well, it keeps going, all right? So it keeps happening over and over and over again, and it keeps strengthening. My why happened on a normal day. I got done working out, took a shower, took a nap, woke up, and I was like, I'm doing this. I'm going to walk across the country. And that transpired from me hearing the stories of people in the vet court system. One woman in particular, she was an Army veteran. She got injured. She was prescribed medication while she was still in. She got addicted to it, opioids. She got kicked out of the Army. And that was it. And so years went on. It caught up with her again. And she lost everything. She lost her marriage. She lost her kids. She found herself in jail. She was in the criminal justice system. And basically, that was it, And we see this with different stories happening, and veterans come out of it, and a lot don't. And so hearing her story, it made me dig. And so I looked into the vet court system more in depth, saw that she had a rating. She was also battled MST. So I went to the county court, and I said, hey, why isn't she getting treatment from the VA? Why is she going to your facility where nobody there understands what it's like to serve, PTSD, TBI, MST, all of it? What's the deal? I had to go and recite their own policies, their own rules to them, again, dealing with politics, and kick down doors. I made enemies. I don't mind doing so, because that's how you get things done. And cut a long story short, after much fight and argument, she was able to go get that help. And she got into the STAR program with the VA. Fast forwarding a year, she's doing great, and she's kept the job. She's drug free, and it's amazing. but it made me dig deeper. It made me go on and say, okay, well, what are other veterans dealing with? So I looked into the vet court system further, and I saw that big gap where we get out of service, and then, you know, battling MST, PTSD, TBI, there's a gap there. There's a gap of, what do I do now? What is my purpose? You know, where do I go from here? And we lose a lot of veterans to that gap. So I said, look, I can do it. I have the, I mean, it wasn't the ideal time, but, you know, it was a rapid decision, and I went with it. What kept fueling me and that why was talking to Vietnam veterans. I was trying to do this thing fast. I was like, I'm an infantry guy. I like to walk, right? So I can knock this out. You know, we can go and walk across the country. But I was in Alabama at a VFW post, and I was talking. I had the cross rifles on my sleeve, and he was a Vietnam veteran infantry guy, and he said, "Hey," he said, "I see your bag there. What are you doing?" And I told him, you know, I'm walking across the country to raise awareness of veterans issues. And he said, dig deeper. So I did. I told him PTSD, you know, TBI, this and that. He said, well, you know, when I was in, we didn't have any. He said, you were just messed up, you know, and he started crying, you know, and he broke down to me. And it was like a punch in the back of the head, you know, and he told me his entire story, you know, between serving, craft, getting spit on, you know, just that major disrespect, you know, him coming home thinking he did something honorable, getting off the plane, going, can't find a job, not welcome into veteran organizations that were established, nowhere to go. And it sends you into that whirlwind, and he found himself in the criminal justice system, you know. But he got out, you know, he did the hard work. He surpassed it, and he survived. But just hearing his story, it made me think, well, I can't rush this. I need to step it out and slow it down. And this is about the cause. It's about why I'm doing it. The why. Why am I doing this? Not how fast I complete it. So everywhere I went, you know, I was talking to family members, Gold Star family members, you know, veterans, family members who took their own lives, veterans that have come out of troubled times and dealing with the issues that we were walking for. And all of it was motivating. It kept me going, it kept us going. And having Jimmy by my side, him telling me his story, you know, it just strengthened the whole. Alexa, take the trash out. Stop. All right. Alexa, stop.
Good old Alexa.
Yeah, she likes to send you a little reminder here and there. But you know, so there was a time that we were coming into Louisiana, and Joshua Madden, who was KIA 2006, United States Army Infantry. His parents, his dad came out and he drove behind us for 15 miles, 2 miles an hour all day. And, you know, he carried our bags for us in his vehicle. And when we got to the city limit sign, Miss Cindy Madden, Josh's mom, you know, she was there and she was waiting for us. And that was like, I'll never remember. I'll never forget it. To me, it was pain, you know. And I remember she got out, she looked at us both, she gave us like a hug like I've never received before in my life. She handed us each a picture of her son that she was carrying around for like 11 years. And I'll never forget that moment, you know. And that moment right there was it, you know, it just totally launched me. Like I knew like I was doing what I was meant to do. And you know, I didn't have all the answers even after that.
Amen, brother.
I was going, you know. And so Maddens, they've become our family. You know, they call us their adopted boys. And, you know, after that, we walked into Shreveport, and we were invited to a Mud Bugs hockey game to drop a puck on Veteran Weekend. And so they were having a Veteran Appreciation Day, and I just had this idea. I was like, well, I don't want to drop a puck. Like, I don't deserve a drop of puck. I ain't doing anything, you know? So I called the guy that handles all their stuff, and I was like, hey, could you do me a favor? He's like, what's that? I said, I met a family back in Minden, Louisiana, Gold Star family, that they deserve to drop this puck, not us. Like, we didn't do anything, you know? And so in like a day's time, 2 days, we organized and changed everything up. And I asked him, I said, would you put a picture of Josh and his family up there? Let them drop the puck, and let's just go that way. Well, he called me back and he was like, look, we love your idea. We're going to do it. You guys can drop a puck too. We'll do it 3 times. I'm like, wow. but you know, we met. I've met, like, I recommend that anybody in this country should have to walk across one point in time in your life. It humbles you. You see the good in people. There is good out there. There's lots of bad. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of good. And what strengthened my why was, again, and Richard had mentioned this, we have a lot of poor politicians in this country that need to be gone. 2,500 miles walking across the country, and I had a very good connection with Congress and knowing people from my prior political days. And I saw 3 state senators in 2,500 miles. That's it. 2,500 miles, reaching out to governors, reaching out to congressmen, reaching out to state elected officials, and I saw 3 state representatives. And for me, that was embarrassing. You know, it was really embarrassing because my whole purpose was what are the numbers in your state? I reached out to the Alabama governor, which at the time had the highest rate among veteran suicide in the country. And my question was, what are you doing to combat that? What are you doing to fix it? Never got a response. You know, so these are the problems. There's a lot of people out there drowning. There's a lot of people out there doing walks. There's a lot of people out there, you know, advocating for veterans every day on all issues, on all levels. But the people that can sign the form, the document, the law, you know, use their pen to actually forcefully make change, they ain't doing it. And that's the problem. So that, all of that combined, the people that walk next to me, the people that have died in combat, the people that continue to take their lives, the people who've survived all of it, the people that Mr. Mumby in Winsboro, Texas, who was found, you know, in his vehicle with a gun, who was suicidal, that has surpassed the issues, who's going to be walking from Winsboro, Texas to Austin, Texas next month. This is my why, to keep it going, to help, to do my part. And I've had a great support network. You know, I have to thank the American Legion and just so many, all the people that come out. It's awesome. I'm not trying to plug the American Legion. They know I'm not trying to plug them, but hey, I got to give credit where credit's due, because I would have been sleeping in the dirt many nights, like I did at the beginning, if it wasn't for them. And you know, people don't have to step up. We see that all the time, but they did. So yeah. So I mean, my why, it's always being, you know, re-energized in me. You know, this is re-energizing. Richard, I've followed Richard for a long time. I've seen a lot of his story and what he's about, and you know, all of it coming together just keeps me going, and one step at a time.
Amen, brother. A wonderful story, John.
Phenomenal, man.
You know,
phenomenal.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, brother. Yeah, thank you, brother.
You know, I'm assuming that this is my, you know, why moment. And I want to follow up with a couple things that John said for starters. Number one, when I retired from the military and I come home, I never really had veteran organizations. They exist, but I was actually turned down by the American Legion in my hometown after three combat deployments, retired. I was turned down, and the reason why is because I was critical. A lot of these veteran organizations that are supposed to be solely focused on the veteran are focused on bingo. They're focused on running a bar, and that's what they do. And because we had like $250,000 turned up missing, and I was critical about that's a veterans organization. I was never really allowed access or any assistance with vets, because I was not for their bingo parlor. But that's a problem is that, you need to have veterans organizations in every county, but the veterans organizations need to be focused on the vets. And if they're not focused on the vets and all they're focused on is drinking, but a lot of Vietnam veterans crawled into a bottle and never come out. And the reason for that's because when they come home, they were shunned. That's one of the things that every one of us probably, depending on where you went in and out of combat. But for the most part, we always flew out of Bangor, Maine. And when we come back from combat, we flew into Bangor, Maine. And the one thing that I always noticed is when I got there, especially the first time, we got off the plane in Bangor, Maine to refuel, and they had us go into the actual the lobby of the airport. But when we were walking through there's a line of people, and they're clapping, and they're handing us bags of cookies. They're handing us a cell phone and saying, call your loved one and let them know that you're finally on friendly soil. And, one of the things that struck me was that every one of them had a Vietnam veteran hat with Vietnam veteran pins, vests. They were Vietnam veterans. And the reason why, if you fly into Bangor, Maine at 2:00 in the morning, you're going to get that reception. And the reason for that is because the Vietnam veterans refuse to ever allow a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Coast Guardsman to ever fight for this country and ever return home and get treated the way they did. And that was powerful to me. And, the Vietnam veteran still to this day is standing watch for us to make sure that we're not coming home and being spat on and being called names and being attacked. And that was something that just really stuck with me. And it always has. And that's the reason why veteran organizations are so important. And we have to figure out how we can make sure that all veteran organizations that are out there are focused more on the veteran than anything else. Now, he also talked about politicians. And I'm going to tell you right now, every politician loves the veteran. Every politician loves the veteran until the veteran asks that politician, why are you not doing more? Until that veteran decides, I'm sick and tired of all of you jackaloons around here that are trying to act like leaders, and I know that you're not a leader at all, and I'm going to challenge you. And then the moment that you challenge them, you become public enemy number one. A lot of people don't realize, I was literally almost murdered. My medical records were stolen from the Veterans Administration. And look, I don't have a problem with my medical records. Yeah, I got most of us that served in combat, especially combat troops, we got the same stuff. We got TBI, we got certain types of injuries. We know that. But there's also some things in your medical record that you may not want everyone to know about, embarrassing stuff. My stuff got posted on Facebook. I will tell you that I've learned a lot about getting into politics. That is absolutely shocking, but we need more veterans. We need more veterans to step up to the plate. And it doesn't mean that you have to run for Congress. We need more veterans to step up to run for the Board of Education. We need more veterans to step up to run for county commission, to run for any position out there. and it's important. But now when you're talking about like my why, for me, it's one of those things where I always say, when I do good, I feel good. And when I'm doing good things, especially for the people that I care about the most, it makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm very political, and I focus on trying to find solid candidates that can challenge these. And I say it, these red districts. I'm a Democrat. It doesn't mean that all Republicans are bad, and it doesn't mean that Republican veterans are bad or anything like that. I'm just, for me, I want to make sure that I can find people that are going to step up and do what's right. And we haven't had many people in Washington D.C. that's really stepped up to the plate and done things to really help us. Because if they did, every one of us would be able to get medical cannabis through the Veterans Administration. And because they're more in line with big pharma and only focusing on this, that's why veterans can't get, medical cannabis, a non-addictive form of pain management, from the damn Veterans Administration, which is exactly where we should be able to get it from. So that's it.
Yeah, there's
right on.
surrounding veterans and veterans care, and actually getting adequate and quick care when you need it as a vet, regardless of your VA rating, regardless of the time you served, just getting the help that you need.
Yep, absolutely. Now I got something I want to add in this, if you guys don't mind. I don't want to be like a hog, but I do have something I think is important, and we all need to think about this. Because I'm gonna put something in your head, and you're gonna go, holy shit! And I guarantee you, John is going to know this. The reason why I know this is when I was a company commander. When I was a company commander, we had no tolerance for drugs. But there was a time in the military. Remember when we had ankle? You had an ankle issue. You had a back issue. What'd they tell you? Take some Motrin.
Motrin.
Friggin' Ranger. That's right. It's Ranger candy. 800 milligrams of Ranger candy. And that's what we did.
Ibuprofen.
That's it. That's what we did. That's what we lived off of. But let me tell you something. After we started deploying to combat, that stopped. It was no longer, here's a bottle of friggin' Motrin. Take a couple, and then I'll see you tomorrow morning for PT. It was soldiers were going to the hospitals, and the daggone drug companies were infiltrating the veterans, the bases. Because now you had military on-base doctors that started medicating the problem and not trying to fix the problem. And we had soldiers that were injured and were going to the doctor, and the doctor was giving them a bottle of daggone, hydrocodone and Oxycontin. That was happening in the military. And I will never forget, I had just come home from commanding in Iraq, and I took a second command. And I can remember watching one of my troops walk into the wall at 6:45 in the morning. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Well, guess what? We take him, and he pops a piss test because he looked like he was absolutely high. So he pops a piss test. So we start the process. There's more people. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, we got all these different people that we're kicking out of the military. And we were kicking them out of the military. They were kicked out of the military because they failed a drug test. But the truth is that nobody thought these guys are going to the hospital, to the friggin' Army Womack Medical Center, and are getting drugs. And I'm talking hydrocodone, Oxycontins, and they're taking them. All you do, if you take any of those for 5 days, you develop dependency. I don't give a shit how tough you think you are. 5 days, you develop dependency. Now we got soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marine that are addicted to drugs. And the thing about the military, and you guys know, the military says, okay, on this day, your profile is over with, and we expect you to be out there running PT, doing your training and everything else. Problem is that they cut those soldiers off of the drugs that they have given them. So now we got soldiers that are addicted to drugs, and they've been cut off. We had soldiers are getting busted for meth. Soldiers are getting busted for all kinds. They're pill shopping. A lot of people didn't realize this, but you have the VA or the medical on base. Okay, your on base records. Do you know that if you go off base for years, they never compared the two? A soldier on base could go to an off-base doctor, show an ID card, and say, "Look, I got pain," and the doctor off base would prescribe them pills, and those two systems never come together. So the doctors on base did not know that the soldiers were going off base and doctor shopping, and were getting meds, and we started catching these soldiers. We kicked them out. We kicked them out with less than dishonorable discharges, which meant that they lost their benefits. So I'm going to tell you right now, you got a lot of soldiers that are veterans that are committing suicide, and a lot of them are committing suicide because they have been completely cut off from all capabilities. The truth is that they got injured in combat, and when they come home, the doctors medicated the problem and didn't fix the problem. Then they got addicted to drugs. Then they started doctor shopping and got caught, and we kicked them out. And I'm going to tell you, this isn't 5 or 10 people. There are thousands. There are thousands of veterans that have been chaptered out of the military for drugs that I can guarantee you can be traced all the way back to that doctor at the friggin' medical center on base that says, "Take this and you'll be okay." I'm telling you right now, that's the reason why a lot of these people are committing suicide, because they don't have VA capabilities anymore, because we took them from them because we didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Well, to take that even further.
Right on, brother. Right on.
But to take that even further, I met a Vietnam veteran who was suicidal, reached out through a friend that I met on the walk. And, here's a guy, he's in his 70s, Marine. Ever since he got out of the military, the VA's response to this guy was, "Here's medication, here's medication, here's medication." And the thing is, the VA is really known for this. They always switch your medications. So you're never really taking the whole thing. So this guy reaches out. He's like, "John, I'm sick and tired of being in the clinical world. I'm sick and tired of seeing these doctors. I'm sick and tired of being forced medication." The guy just wanted somebody to listen to. The guy wanted somebody to talk to him and just hear his story and be a part of something. So we started the Wood County Veteran Support Group, which now we included first responders into that. But guy's doing great. He has his down moments still, but I mean, he's talking, he's lively. And he took me out to his vehicle one day and he said, "I want to show you something." He had a box, I don't know how big. It was like maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, filled with prescription medication, all labeled VA. That's the problem. We're trying to get these quick fills, these quick responses, these quick, hey, take this, you'll feel better, get out of here, and then they keep changing things up. And it's a problem. It's affecting everybody.
Yeah.
It's an epidemic, and there's not a one size fits all when it comes to pain, when it comes to treatment, when it comes to even helping people. I want to share, I don't want it to be about me. This is an interview with you guys, but I want to share something here. Richard, you talked about back injuries a little bit, man. And that was my spine.
Wow.
So no disc and obviously broken. That's what it looks like now, man.
Damn.
So, yeah. Unfortunately, I know. Yeah, Richard, your face, man.
Dude, you look like adult scoliosis, man.
No, it's called spondylolisthesis. It's not scoliosis. It's literally a broken spine from who knows, man. MMA, martial arts schools, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's jacked up. That's jacked up, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, brother. So I'm squirming in my seat now because we're at 45 minutes. I got about 15 minutes of good back left, and then I got to go sit in the massage chair.
Wow.
But before we get off of here, what I really want to do is circle over to Rob, because Rob, you shared with me something the other day about spiral and how your life kind of was okay and started spiraling downhill. And I think a lot of people that are listening, watching right now will be able to resonate with that and resonate with the why your life kind of took a different direction than the trajectory that it was on. So I want you to share just a little bit.
Yeah, well, my why has always been God, man. That's, we know the struggles. We all deal with the struggles, Dave, John, Richard, every day we all have our own struggles, our own demons, things that would want to make us quit and give up, but we just got to keep fighting and moving forward. And, for me, it's one minute at a time. That's how I take life. I'm not worried about tomorrow. I'm just thinking about today, getting through today. And then, and that's it. I put God first, and I read my Bible. I got my my trusted Bible right here that it just gets me through life, man. I just thank God every day. Everything's a blessing for me now. When I wake up in the morning, it's a blessing. When I have food, it's a blessing. When I get to go out to the mall, it's a blessing. Everything's a blessing for me in life. I'm just really thankful that about everything. So, I'm thankful for today. I'm thankful that we all got together, man, to talk about this suicide prevention, because it's time that we get together and try to see what we can do for veterans out there. Because there's different types of veterans. The last show, the last segment, I prayed for suicide survivors, but it's not just suicide survivors. We need to pray for the veterans that are contemplating suicide, because that's a whole nother different topic and type of people, so there's just so hopefully by us getting together, we can try to raise some more awareness about and some more education, and maybe just another page where people can go to get help, before they decide that they commit suicide. So hopefully everybody watching this has gotten some really good info and knows that we're here 24 hours, 7 days a week to answer your questions and help you out, get you a ride to the VA. That's the main thing. For me, I think people don't have a ride to the VA. Okay. And also the VA needs to be open 24 hours for mental health patients. Okay. So we're in the year 2021. Okay. And mental health is through the roof. Okay. They need to have a clinic open, not just the ER. The ER is for an emergency if you have an emergency, but we need a 24-hour mental health clinic open for the veterans, because these veterans, man, taking care of a veteran isn't just an 8-hour day thing. It's a 365, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job. Okay. Yeah. And these guys, they end up to the VA at a certain time, and the VA's closed. And that's when they go commit suicide. That's what I think. When the VA's closed and they don't have nobody to go to, that's when they go in their car in the parking lot and commit suicide after hours. They need an after hours clinic open 24 hours for mental health. Okay. That's number one. That's what I'm here for, to help try to push that agenda. Because I won't tell you how many times I went to the VA after hours and they're closed, man, sometimes. And it's just a shame, because when you're down and out, the VA is the last place you go. And, normally the guys, they don't have no family. And so they're expecting the VA to take care of them. And then when they show up to the VA and there's nobody there to take care of them, that's when they commit suicide, because You know, that's their last outlet. When you go to the VA, you're going there because you don't have nowhere else to go. Your family's gone. You know, a lot of us, when we sign up for the military and they go back home, you don't have a family to go home to. Your only family are your brothers and your sisters that you served with, you know. And you're promised when you sign up, when you enlist, that you'll have free medical the rest of your life. You know, veterans, we're not asking for a favor. Can you help a veteran out? No, we're asking for what you promised us. You promised us medical help. That's all we're asking for, what we earned. You know, we don't want a favor. We want to get what we earn, you know. So that's it, man. And we earn 24-hour mental health at every VA because it's a 24-hour job taking care of us, man. And that's it. So, but I really do appreciate Richard, you coming on air, man. It's really good to get your insight, man. And John, thank you, John, for coming out. I hope we can all get together again here in the future.
Yeah, I want to say this. I mean, you know, now that I know this is in the morning, you know, I would like to be, you know, let known when you guys do these, because I would love to be a part of this. I mean, I think this is phenomenal. Now, John, I got to ask you, who is the person that's walking the Appalachian Trail right now?
I was actually going to mention that. His name is J.R. Littleton. He doesn't have a page, but you can send him a friend request on Facebook. He's walking. His brother committed suicide, and he's walking in honor of his brother. They both were Army veterans.
Well, I got a buddy of mine that just kicked it off yesterday, walking the Appalachian Trail. He's an infantryman. We was in Korea together. We were in Iraq at the same time. Solid guy. Last name's Bender. He started walking yesterday. I didn't know if maybe you had been in contact with him, but I'm sure they had to look for each other on the trail, because they definitely hit it off.
Yeah. I wanted to touch a little bit on what Rob was saying about, real quick. I know we got to get going, but, you know, when a veteran gets to that point where they realize they need help, it is a gap window like that. And, you know, I know from having friends that have reached out to the VA during those dark times to be told, we'll get to you in 90 days. That's not the solution. And it happens everywhere. It happens all over the place. And so it's really important for us to realize that when it takes everything for a veteran to come out and say, I need help, it is the last thing they do before making that decision. And it is, you don't have that much time. We don't have 90 days. So I've been searching for places for veterans to go. I don't care if they got benefits. I don't care if they have a rating and they got to wait now. I don't care what this is. I'm looking for places that if I make a phone call, we'll be like, send them, get them here. I don't care. We'll pay for it. And there's places out there. I got my buddy who's at Heroes Mile in Longview, Texas right now. And I called them up and told them the runaround we were having with the VA with his situation. And they said, I don't care about that. We'll pay it. Get him here. Got him there the next day. Boom. He's in treatment, 30-day detox. So that's what I'm looking for. It's important to recognize these places because they're doing a good thing for the community, for veterans. So, yeah, I mean, it's really sad what's going on among our veteran community, our brothers and sisters.
Yeah, it is. Well, you know, as we're talking here, Richard, John, Rob, what I notice is all of your whys are totally different, right? There's so much that surrounds this topic that needs to be addressed. And it's not just one aspect of it. It's not just healthcare. It's not just a place to go. It's not just policy and politics behind it. It's not just the fact that, yeah, you had a rough time and now you've overcome your bad, rough, you know, crap, all of this, and you've overcome it, and now you have this intrinsic motivation to help others. It's a lot of stuff that goes on in this one topic. So I want to say to anyone that's watching, if you feel suicidal, contact someone. Tell someone now. The end. Just tell someone now. The second thing that I want to say is Everyone matters. And you have to believe that. You have to know that you have something to offer this world. It doesn't matter if your mom, your dad, your friends don't feel like you have something to offer them. You have something to offer the world, and you have to believe that. And every one of us here will tell you exactly that. You have something to offer this big world. So you matter. So don't let life's noise, is what I call it, all this stuff, this crap constantly going on in your head, in your atmosphere, in your bubble, take away from the fact that you're here for a reason. And you can get well, get better, get great, and start giving back. And there's nothing better, and we all four of us know this, there's nothing better in this world than the feeling of giving back. So make sure that you get the help that you need, that you want, and that you deserve. All right? With that, Rob, would you close us out in a prayer, and we'll end. I hope that everyone got a lot from this, and you all were able to give a lot. So, Rob, over to you, brother.
Yeah, this prayer here is actually for survivors, suicide survivors. It's Psalms 88, and it goes, "O Lord, God of my salvation, I cry out day and night before you. Let my prayer come before you. Incline your ear to my cry, for my soul is full of troubles, and my life draws near to shroud. I am contained among those who go down to the pit. I am a man who has no strength, like one set loose among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, like those whom you remember no more, for they are cut off from your hand. You have put me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. Your wrath lies heavy upon me, and you overwhelm me with all your waves. You have caused my companions to shun me. You have made me a horror to them. I shut in so that I cannot escape. My eyes grow dim through sorrow. Every day I call upon you, O Lord. I spread out my hands to you. Do you work wonders for the dead? Do you departed rise up to praise you? Is your steadfast love declared in the grave, or your faithfulness in abandon? Are your wonders known in the darkness, or your righteousness in the land of the forgetfulness? But I, O Lord, cry to you. In the morning my prayer comes before you. O Lord, why did you cast my soul away? Why did you hide your face from me? Afflicted and close to death from my youth up, I suffer your terrors. I am helpless. Your wrath has swept over me. Your dreadful assaults destroy me. They surround me like a flood. All day long, they close in on me together. You have caused my beloved, my friend, to shun me. My companions have become darkness. So,
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
and that's
that.
just the scripture from Psalms 88. I got some more scriptures next time, but that one there is for the suicide survivors. But yeah, so that was just me reading the Bible. But I got some more prayers here. Dear Father, please come to us in the name of Jesus. And Father, please heal the sick. Please heal everyone dealing with suicide who's complain to take their lives tonight. And let them come forth, Lord, for help. Let them seek the light. Let them find a friend or family member who can help them in their times of despair. Or maybe they can contact a mental health clinic or the VA, or somebody can just come in their life and touch their heart and walk them in a different direction from committing suicide. Dear Lord, we ask you this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right, guys. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you. We appreciate what you're doing. Sincerely. So we'll end that there. Love everybody. Peace.
Airborne.